What is up, everyone? My name is Matt. Welcome back to 3 and Out Sports Podcast. It's the middle of the week. It's Wednesday, so you know what that means. It's my midweek mix. On today's mix, we're going to talk a little bit NBA. We also have my top 10 power rankings out after week 3 of the NFL. And we're also going to let you know about the games of the weekend in MLB, college football, and the NFL. Let's start in the NBA, and I'm telling you, this is the greatest offseason in the history of sports. I mean, literally, it's the gift that keeps on giving. Carmelo Anthony was just traded to the Oklahoma City Thunder. The West is going to be bananas this season. I believe that this move propels Oklahoma City to the second best team out West. They have to prove that they can dethrone the champs before they can be named the number one team. But think of this starting lineup and tell me this isn't a championship level starting lineup. You have Russell Westbrook, the MVP at point guard. You have Andre Roberson at the 2, a defensive specialist. You have Paul George at the 3. We all know who Paul George is. Mellow at the 4. Again, we all know who Mellow is. And Steven Adams at the 5, a great rebounder, defensive enforcer, a guy that's going to be there, and he's going to be a rim protector for this team. Mellow he gets a lot of grief. He's not a winner. He doesn't play defense. But I think that the Mellow you're going to see in Oklahoma City is the Mellow you saw in the Olympics. He will be that leader. He'll do whatever it takes to win. He wants to win, and I think this move solidifies that. One stat that's been not told from last year with Carmelo Anthony in catch and shoot chances last year, he had a better shooting percentage than Kevin Love. Kevin Love that's what he does. Carmelo Anthony doesn't do that. So not to mention, can Carmelo Anthony go out and get his own? Yes, but he also can be a guy that spots up in the corner for 3 while Paul George and Russell Westbrook try to do their own. This move makes complete sense. Carmelo's not going to guard your number 1 scorer. He's not going to guard your number 2 scorer. He's not even going to guard your number 3 scorer. He's going to guard your off big man. Tell me Carmelo Anthony can't do that. This trade is a perfect fit for the Oklahoma City Thunder. It's going to take some time to get used to. Now, I'm not going to say that they're going to win 60, 70 games. In my opinion, at the end of this all, Oklahoma City Thunder will be the number 2 team out West. Maybe not the number 2 seed, but they'll be the second best team out West. Also, just happening today, which we all kind of figured it was going to happen, Dwyane Wade signs with the Cleveland Cavaliers. The rich get richer. It makes the Cavs extremely deep on the wing, at the wing position, the 2-3 position. This move, I think, actually propels them into being in that Golden State category. Let me tell you why. The starting lineup on October 17th, when the Cavs open up their season, will be D. Rose, Dwyane Wade, LeBron James, Kevin Love, and Tristan Thompson. Their bench is going to be Jose Calderon, J.R. Smith, Iman Shumpert, Kyle Korver, Channing Frye, and Richard Jefferson. Other big news that came out was Isaiah Thomas will be back in January. So slot Isaiah Thomas into the starting lineup, and now you have D. Rose, who's a guy that got 18.3 points per game last year, is now going to be your backup point guard. This team is going to be incredibly deep, and all these players that they have signed this offseason have a chip on their shoulder. They want to prove they're still good enough to be on rosters, or they want to prove that they want to win a championship. Isaiah Thomas just got traded for Kyrie Irving. He was the king of that city. They said, bye. D. Rose has 3 years ago was looked at as one of the best players in all of basketball. Now he signs a vet minimum deal. Iman Shumpert, a guy that it was a starter 2 years ago in the NBA Finals, is going to struggle to get minutes. This team is going to be really deep, and LeBron has that chip on his shoulder. He wants this season to start. I cannot wait. Let me put this in perspective about Dwyane Wade, though. Everyone's going to say he's old. He doesn't have it anymore. Last year, in 2016, Dwyane Wade averaged 18.3 points, 4.5 rebounds, 3.8 assists in 60 games. The starting shooting guard for the Cleveland Cavaliers was J.R. Smith. His averages 8.6 points per game, 2.8 rebounds per game, 1.5 assists per game. Now, I think this makes them incredibly better as a starter and also bring some more firepower off the bench so when LeBron does want to sit down, they have people that can go out and get their own. And now let's move on to my NFL Top 10 Power Rankings after Week 3. This is a segment I do every week on this show. Getting started at number 10, we have the Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans might have the best offensive line in pro football. Listen, they've only given up 3 sacks this year. Most importantly, this is who they've played. The Oakland Raiders, Jacksonville Jaguars, Seattle Seahawks. Now, with those teams, they have some offensive deficiencies, yes. The one thing all 3 of those teams have in common is they're very good at rushing the passer. And the fact that they've only given up 3 sacks is amazing. At number 9, we have the Denver Broncos. Now, I'm not going to overreact too much. They went into Buffalo, and they lost. Buffalo's not a bad team. They're 2-1, first place in the East. They're going to be good. The one thing that I have questioned about the Denver Broncos, offense. When this team is not playing high level, shutout, amazing defense, when this offense has to try to win a game, I don't think they can. And that's what's going to inevitably hold them back, especially on the road when you don't have that home field advantage. Number 8, Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, they lost to Chicago, and just like the Bills, it seems like these 2 teams are going to play really tough at home. Ask Atlanta in Week 1. I don't have much concerns about the Pittsburgh Steelers. They'll be fine. At number 7, I have the Oakland Raiders. Now, they lost on Sunday night to the Washington Redskins. It wasn't that they lost, is they got bullied. They got out-physicaled. That's got to change. Del Rio's going to get that changed. He's a hard, tough-nosed coach. He'll get that fixed for them. At number 6, I have the Detroit Lions. I'm not going to punish them too much in my rankings for the way they lost. They should have won that game against Atlanta. Defensively, they're forcing a lot of turnovers. Really like what they're doing defensively, and Matt Stafford's a winner, and I really like him. At number 5, I have the Dallas Cowboys, and my one takeaway: I don't care about passing yards, I don't care about attempts. Dak is for real. He's so mature. He's seeing things that other people aren't. I love what they're doing, and obviously Zeke is doing Zeke things. Malik Collins, leading the league in sacks at 7.5 sacks so far this year. Dallas is off to a great start. At number 4, I had the New England Patriots. Most important thing is they finally got Brandon Cooks involved in a game. Tom Brady, he's Superman, kale-loving guy. I don't even know what to call him. Whatever diet he's on, I need to go on now. He's probably the best 40-plus-year-old athlete of all time. At number 3, I have the Green Bay Packers. They had a great comeback win. There's no questions against a team in Cincinnati that you kind of saw this coming. They were out. They didn't score a touchdown for the first 2 weeks. They were going to come out and they were going to play hard. They were going to try to win this game, but Green Bay found a way to win, and that's what the good teams do. At number 2, I have the Atlanta Falcons. My one stat with the Atlanta Falcons, and I'm going to go into more detail with it with the number 1 team, is that they are averaging the 3rd most yards per play. And in the grand scheme of football, that's what it's all about. How many yards do you get per play? They're averaging 6.5 yards per play. They're 3-0, and this is the scary part. This team hasn't played their best. They haven't put a complete game together yet. I'm very high on the Atlanta Falcons. And at number 1, you guessed it, there's no question they're going to be there for a while if they keep playing like this, the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm going to go over and read a little thing, the Kareem Hunt Bible right here. He leads the league in yards from scrimmage, 179.3. Rushing yards per game, 133. Rushing touchdowns. Rushing first downs. Average per carry, 8.5. The team also leads pro football in yards per play at 7.1. Defensively, they're playing lights out. They are the most complete team right now in the NFL. And we're moving on to the final segment of the show. In this part of the show, what I like to do is give you my marquee matchups in the NFL, college football, and Major League Baseball. In the NFL this weekend, we have 3 games that I think you guys should watch. Really, I mean, these games you should go out your way and watch because we have Washington at Kansas City. Now, we all know how I feel about Kansas City. I think they're the most complete team right now in the NFL. But Washington's playing very well right now. Chris Thompson is coming out of nowhere as the running back in Washington. Kirk Cousins looks like he's back on track. That team is playing very inspired football right now. But I do believe Kansas City will win this game. We have the Raiders at the Broncos. Now, this is a marquee matchup out west. You don't like to think that games in week 4 are going to determine the division winner, but this is a huge swing with two top teams in that division. These are the type of games that when you win, you look back in week 15 and 16 and 17 going like, oh, I'm glad we won that game because now we have the leg up on this team. I do believe the Raiders will go into Denver, though, and beat them coming off that embarrassing loss last week. And finally, we have the Rams, as I said, the Los Angeles Rams at the Dallas Cowboys. Now, not many people know this about the Rams, and yes, the competition hasn't been the highest level, but they average right now the second most yards per play in the NFL. That's pretty crazy. Jared Goff is playing like he deserved to be the number 1 pick. Sammy Watkins is playing really well, and Gurley is back to being a dominant force on the offensive end. With Aaron Donald on defense, that team is playing really well right now, and we all know about the Cowboys, Dak, Zeke, Dez, that defense, Malik Collins. I do think the Cowboys do win that game. And in college football this weekend, we have number 5 USC traveling to number 16. Yes, I said this. Number 16, Washington State. You know about the Trojans, Sam Darnold. You know about that team. What you don't know about Washington State is it's coached by Mike Leach. He was a guy at Texas Tech that was just putting up ridiculous offensive numbers. Well, guess what? For the last couple years, he's been doing the same thing up in Washington State. The one difference is they were bad for the last couple years. This year, they've really put together a solid team. I do believe USC wins, but it should be a fun game to watch. Secondly, my second game to watch in college football this weekend will be number 2 Clemson traveling to Virginia Tech that are ranked number 12. It's an 8 p.m. night game in Blacksburg. That place is absolutely nuts. One of the hardest stadiums to go into and play at any time, but especially at night. Unbelievable. Enter the Sandman is one of the greatest things that if you don't know anything about Enter the Sandman, go right now, after this podcast, obviously, go to YouTube and put in Enter the Sandman, Virginia Tech, gives you chills. I do think Clemson wins, but it should be a very entertaining game. And then my best non-ranked game this weekend is Memphis going to Central Florida to take on the Golden Knights. Now, Memphis this year, their biggest win, if you haven't known, they beat UCLA at Memphis. UCLA came in there. It was an offensive explosion. What a great game. Memphis came out and just, it took it to them, really. Their best player, Riley Ferguson, their quarterback, he's the best player on this team. It's on the watch. He's their quarterback. But also don't sleep on Anthony Miller. Best receiver they have, 17 catches, 255 yards, 3 touchdowns. Memphis is a very good offensive team. They're not very good defensively. UFC just came off a blowout win at Maryland, which to me was ridiculous. I really didn't think that was going to happen. I know Maryland lost their starting quarterback, but they really outplayed them in every facet of the game, not just because Maryland lost their quarterback. They don't run the ball much. They don't have a go-to number 1, but they do throw the ball. And Mackenzie Milton, their quarterback, is their best player. I think in a high-scoring game, Memphis pulls this one out. And now let's go on to the Major League Baseball, where the races are heating up. I mean, the playoffs are kind of locked in. We don't know yet the seeding for everyone. So Houston travels to Boston in a pivotal series for Houston. They're trying to keep pace with Cleveland to get that number 1 seed. Boston's locked in as the number 3 seed there. So Houston has a lot more to play for. But will they go for it? Will they try? Will they use their best pitching? I doubt it. So it's a great series to watch. They're going to try to keep up with Cleveland, but eventually I do think Cleveland will be number 1, Houston number 2, and then Boston number 3, Yankees number 4, and Minnesota number 5. In the National League, there's one key series. It's Milwaukee at St. Louis. Both those teams are fighting for that last spot with Colorado out west. I don't think either one of these teams will do it, but these teams can't beat up on each other. One team has to sweep the other, and they got to hope they get some help from Colorado. So those are my games to watch this weekend in the NFL, college football, and Major League Baseball. All right, everyone, we have reached the end of the 3 and Outs Midweek Mix Sports Podcast. In the comment section below, I'm going to have a Twitter link there. Please go over there and follow. Also, I'm going to have a link out to my YouTube channel. If you can go over there and subscribe, I greatly appreciate it. Secondly, let me know your opinions on my NFL power rankings and the games of this weekend. Let me know if I missed anything. All right, everyone, my name is Matt. That's my 3 topics, and I'm out. Peace.